Which means we can commence this meeting, which I formally declare open. I should note that this meeting is being recorded and webcast. That means that if you are speaking, please be respectful of others. The council is not liable for defamation. You are. So I have to say that. The next thing I should do is allow the panel members to introduce ourselves so that you know who we are. I'm David Lloyd. I'm a lawyer. I'm a QC with a practicing certificate. I'm a former judge of the Land and Environment Court. I'm a former acting judge of the Supreme Court. I'm currently an adjunct professor of law at Western Sydney University, and I chair 3 other local planning panels.
I'm Chris Young. I'm an expert for the panel. I'm a qualified town planner and traffic engineer. I've spent 30 years in local government and 18 years in consultancy, and I spent over 20 years as chief town planner at Ku-ring-gai Council.
David Logan. I'm an architect and planner. I'm an expert member of this panel as well, and I sit on 2 other panels and the Parramatta Design Excellence Advisory Panel. I'm a former member of the Heritage Council of New South Wales, and I have a consulting business in heritage management.
Philip Hart, so I'm the community representative, one of them for the panel. I've been in Hunters Hill now for 22 years, served as a councillor, been in quite a few groups, activist groups such as the Safe Hunters Hill Council, and all community service organisations, so the Hunters Hill Food and Wine Festival for about 16 years. Thank you.
All right, I should say that having heard that, you would have noted that the members of this panel are impartial, experts in their own fields, and having clear expertise as attested by their formal qualifications. They are independent and detached from the political process. They act impartially and dispassionately to achieve the best outcome. That's our aim. Next is confirmation of the minutes of the previous panel meeting held on the 19th of July. The minutes have been circulated. 3 of us panel members were present at that meeting, and I think we can confirm those minutes as being correct.
Yes.
Business arising, there is no business arising from that. So we can move straight on to the development applications that are before us. The first one is the development application for a temporary use of a portion of the public reserve at Clark's Point for an outdoor cinema on 4 nights over the next long weekend. I can advise that the panel inspected the site of this proposal earlier in the day, and we have an appreciation of what is proposed. I note that there is a number of people who wish to speak on this one, so I will call upon you each in turn. Is Jill Stevenson here? Jill Stevenson? No, not here. She may be late, but I'll move on to the next person. Elizabeth Crassoy, are you here?
Yes.
I should mention that you are limited to 3 minutes.
Oh, I'll be good, I promise. My name's Elizabeth Crassoy. I'm one of the councillors this term at Hunters Hill. I'm here to speak in support of the open air cinema. And I'll raise 3 quick points. One is the precedents set by our community and their proven support for event development. The precedents set by our council and our council's proven support for community events. And also the opportunity that this event presents for leadership by our whole community on inclusion. So precedents of the community for proven support and a thirst to engage on our own doorstep. I reflect on, firstly, the data from Council's 2017 Your Voice Satisfaction Survey results, where events and exhibitions ranked as one of the things people loved most about living in Hunters Hill. I'll also reflect on the roll-up to local community events and collaborative events. Firstly, there's 19 years of the Hunters Hill Food and Wine Festival, an event that actually saw me moving to Hunters Hill because I came to it and loved it so much and went house hunting as a result. Harbour Sculpture, the Hunters Hill Quilters, our history walks. There are so many events in Hunters Hill, but I'll quickly do a case study of one event close to my heart that I was involved in founding, the Hunters Hill Street Feast and Chill Out session. This was an event promoting local musical talent, local businesses, and Council joined with me under the auspices of the Main Street Committee to create a traffic management plan, risk analysis, a business plan. We closed a main road and several access driveways in our main village precinct with residents who lived directly above. We ran a table down the middle of the road. We had live music, amplification and food by local restaurants, and from all accounts a turn-up of approximately 3,000 guests in the first year that we ran it. That year I did a SurveyMonkey feedback online survey, and the largest response was what a great night was had. Many people said it should have gone for longer. The event finished at 10 p.m. Many people said it should be monthly. It was awesome. And some people said they would have liked to have had more food choices available to them. That was the bulk of the negative feedback I received on that event, and it speaks spades of our community and their thirst. The precedents of Council's proven support, collaborating on all of those above events and many more that I'm sure other people will mention. But in our community strategic plan, which we as councillors have the responsibility to develop, I'll just quote from it to make it simple, and I'll just quote a couple of points. Under community and lifestyle, point 3, one of our goals is a strong sense of community connection among our residents. A performance indicator for this is that residents are satisfied with council events. So, I'm enlarging on my screen here. Some of the strategies for delivering this are that we actively promote cultural development and that we foster a sense of community and connection among residents by planning and developing opportunities for community involvement. So lastly, I just want to briefly speak about the opportunity for leadership on inclusion. I guess you've read a bit about the event, and I'm sure Angus will speak more about it. Our council's already making great strides on inclusion. We participated recently in a rock-wide competition encouraging inclusive business. We adopted a resolution to design and upgrade all our play spaces to above and beyond accessible standards, and we updated our disability inclusion action plan. I recently attended a workshop panel on inclusion and what it looks like and how to make it mainstream. Genevieve Clay, the founder and partner of Bus Stop Films, was a panellist at this event, and we discussed the chicken and egg of inclusion. Do you wait for a need to arise, or do you create an opportunity for a gap to be filled? It was a launchpad for her career and Tropfest award-winning career of Gerard O'Dwyer in 2009, when she wanted to make a film about a person with a disability. And she logically followed that if she wanted to make a film about a person with a disability, she needed to engage the services of people with disabilities. That was how Bus Stop Film was founded, and the rest is history. Someone in the audience at this event that I was at said to her, actually to all the panellists, "Where do you start on inclusion?" And she said, to quote a Nike phrase, "Just do it," she said, and I have to agree. I don't know how good the juice will be until we've cut this piece of fruit. Our own strategic plan says on social inclusion and equity, the community strategic plan supports sustainable and equitable provision of a wide range of cultural, recreational and leisure activities, events and support services for people of all ages, backgrounds and abilities. We as a community have parent-run events, we have seniors-run events, and a yawning gap for an event run by our visionary youth who want to stay, engage and play in their own backyard with their neighbours and their friends of all ages. To me, it's a no-brainer. I hope everyone else's conversation will convince you as well. I can't wait to get my ticket. I'll be riding my bike and my family will be coming. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Is Charlie Collins here? Not here? All right. Is Nikki Gretsch here?
Yes. Hi. I'm representing a positive support for
this plan, and my name is...
For the record.
Sorry, is Nikki Gregg.
For the record, your name and address.
Sorry, my name is Nikki Gregg. I'm at 13 Demille Howe Road, Hunters Hill. I represent the young mothers and parents of the community. I have two young children, one 9 and one 13. I'm also the PNF president at Villa Maria Primary School. I actively support a number of things that are occurring in the community, but I just wanted to lead my support to this application. I think there is a number of fantastic community events that we recognise and support in the area, but we are lacking in some areas. And I think certainly my children were excited to hear about the proposal, thought it was a great idea, would love to be included. So I'm just here to say that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is Ms Fay here?
I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Sarah Fay. I live in 32 Woolwich Road, Hunters Hill. I've lived in Hunters Hill since I was 6 months old. I've been very involved in the local community, have many local friends, and was school captain of Hunters Hill Public School in 2015. Therefore, I believe I am somewhat of a good advocate for the younger generation of the Hunters Hill residents. And I'd like to thank the council for the opportunity to put a young person's perspective on the many benefits of having an open-air cinema in Woolwich. Ever since the idea was proposed late last year, there's been this stir of excitement for this great possibility of a really fun night, or multiple nights, of enjoying food, views, friends, and of course movies with the close-knit community of Hunters Hill in a safe and controlled environment. There are not a lot of local events for family and teenagers in Hunters Hill. Open-air cinemas are scarce in the surrounding area, and the addition of such an event would be very well patronised and provide the young people as well as the families with a great social event. Just look at Mukabulla, an amazing, successful event that endorses fun, food and local businesses, but it's only once a year. And local businesses would welcome the event and support this just as they do for Mukabulla and the Hunters Hill Street Feast. I also believe the local residents proposing this event should be congratulated on their initiative and supported to make their vision become a reality. Personally, I don't see any negatives, and if there were any, surely the positives would outweigh the negatives by a vast majority. By having a family movie night and a movie night where you could show the classics, the rom-coms, the critically acclaimed, and being a bit of a movie fan myself, this sounds amazing. And the fact that a young local resident has introduced this concept by trying to cater to everyone in the community is such an amazing idea. I know that all my local friends and friends who aren't even local would come and support the night. Having an open-air cinema, it'd just be such an enjoyable night and many people would come. I mean, just imagine a warm summer night with the harbour bridge, the sunset, the water, and wandering down to the movies with your friends and your family. So please consider the open-air cinema with great thought for everyone involved, because I know it would be a great disappointment not to have it, and it's such a great opportunity, and it'd be a terrible shame to not capitalise the great initiative by Mr McCaffrey. Thank you for letting me show my support for the Woolwich Open Air Cinema, and I hope to see you all at premiere this summer.
Thank you. Is Miss Alvarez here?
The senior citizen.
Yes. Again, for the record, your name and address.
Pamela Alvarez of 75 Woolwich Road.
Thank you.
And I strongly support the proposed October long weekend Woolwich Open Air Cinema for these reasons. First, it will be an enjoyable event for those who attend and it will not adversely impact those not attending. Second, we have lost many of the facilities which provide the true sense of a village. This proposal will strengthen our local sense of community. Third, it will promote this uniquely scenic area which many of us fought hard to save for the community. I've had the joy of living in the vicinity since 1960, and my husband was born here and his father before him. I will be directly impacted by the cinema because I live in Margaret Street, 2 minutes walk from the proposed venue. I'm convinced that any perceived downsides for those living nearby have already been anticipated and planned for by the organisers, so locals will not be adversely impacted. Some of you here tonight and many in the community fought long and hard to save Clark's Point, Woolwich Dock, the horse and ghost paddocks. Why did we fight so hard? So that this unique area would be available for the benefit and enjoyment of the community. The cinema proposal is an opportunity to use this area for exactly such a purpose. Some of our committee have since died, but I'm sure they would support this proposal as a perfect event for the area we fought hard to save. The cinema proposal is not the first of its kind for Woolwich. Some years ago I attended the local air cinema. It was down on the horse paddock. It was a wonderful evening for all ages. This proposal brings back so many happy memories of that evening. Many families and neighbours walked to the event with their picnics, rugs and so on. This was a great community spirit on that occasion. I have no doubt that we would recreate that community spirit this time around. And I'll just add, with Bus Stop, my daughter's at Afters Film School, and I asked her about them, and she said they're a very reputable group and that she's partnered with them in a number of events. Anyway, I do hope that the planning panel will give us that opportunity of enjoying this proposal.
Thank you. All right, Mr. McCaffrey.
I'm Angus McCaffrey from 7 Woolwich Road, Hannes Hill. Good afternoon. I'd like to thank all who have attended and spoken today for their lovely words. Our event has been a long time coming, over 2.5 years since I first emailed Council stating my desire to begin a pop-up cinema in Clark's Point. While it has felt like an age for us, in retrospect, this has been for the best. The many hurdles have refined and moulded our proposal to best serve all the stakeholders of our community, all equally important. The standards and guidelines which we have implemented have created a comprehensive proposal which allows people to enjoy a lovely, relaxed evening under the stars, while also preserving an utmost level of safety. However, this event is more than just a few blockbusters. This event is the youth of Hunters Hill saying we love our community and want to play an active role in its future. This is us encouraging the many generations to come together and enjoy our beautiful suburb. I think this serves as an important and timely statement, as just a few weeks ago we celebrated 1 year since Hunters Hill successfully fought for its independence. It is also worth noting that the cinema plans to support Bus Stop Films, a local non-for-profit that gives film school experience to young people with intellectual disability. I first heard about Bus Stop Films when a close friend of mine, Nathan Basher, told me he was the assistant producer on their film, The Interviewer. Nathan is truly a film buff, with a DVD collection numbering in the thousands. Needless to say, his role and the success of this film, having won numerous awards and being viewed around the world, have brought him and the rest of the team immense pride. I'm glad to be able to support this wonderful charity, both financially and by presenting their films. So I hope you feel confident that we can proceed with our event, that the rigorous planning we have completed to date allows for a safe, comfortable experience, and that the absolute support of the Hunters Hill councillors and mayor, coupled with the hundreds of people who have positively responded to our surveys and written into council, highlight the overwhelming community support for this event. Thank you.
Before you go,
Yes.
the panel members may have some questions.
Of course.
Yes. I guess, have you done an event management plan for the project? I know you've got a lot of information, but do you have a singular document whereby?
We do. It numbers almost 100 pages, and it's an incredibly in-depth proposal of what we should do should the cinema be approved. It has some commercial sensitive information in it, so we only submitted parts to the council, but that's ready to go tomorrow should we be approved.
Okay. And does that contain information as to where, if there are any complaints, as to who any complainants can ring and lodge their complaint with?
So I've written a few letters to the people who have complained since we first began letterbox dropping about 2 years ago. And on each letter, I've got my email address, phone number, and usually I submit a list of frequently asked questions. So each letterbox drop, I'll gauge what were the main concerns. I'll list them, tell them, for example, parking. This will be another Coffees and Cars, I've been told. Well, Coffees and Cars organised 3,000 cars to arrive at the one moment without a traffic management plan. We are expecting 80 cars over a 2-hour period, and we've done a traffic management plan. So there's some of the things we've let people know in our frequently asked questions and correspondence. And every single time we send out a letter, I've put all my details, personal, and requested if they want a coffee or if they want to sit down or a phone chat. I'm more than happy to do any of those things.
But on the night that it's actually operating, if there is a complaint to somebody, is there there's a phone number and a person,
yes,
and that's going to be advertised?
Yes, that will be advertised. So not only will it be on our website, but also the people who are in the area already have my details.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a maximum of 200 attendees?
Correct.
How do you control that?
Tickets are only available online, so that's going to be advertised extensively. So what the other cinemas do is they allow people to come and buy tickets at the gate, but we're not going to have that. By only allowing tickets available online and making sure people know that, we won't have any excess people coming down to the area, and that will be monitored at the gate, where we have a security guard and a staff member who buzzes the tickets as they come through, and that's the only way you can gain access to the area.
And there will only be 200 available? So
yes, of course.
Okay.
We're using event booth, and on that you can manage those things very easily.
Okay. And the final one I've got is the details of the shuttle bus. How do you advertise that and make those available to?
So the route will be available online once again, and also people who purchase a ticket will be sent a bit of a detailed letter on exactly how it's going to work. So essentially what it's going to say, and showing a route, is the shuttle bus is going to travel between the Valencia Street Ferry Wharf, the overpass, and down at the drop-off zone that I showed the panel earlier today. And that's been ticked off by our traffic engineer, who we hired to do a traffic management plan for the event. And so people can wait at their local bus stop. They'll just wave down the bus that will have Woolwich Open Air Cinema signage on it, and they can hop on.
Mr. Logan?
How big is the shuttle bus? How many people will it take?
The shuttle bus can take 18 people.
And it'll just do a loop?
Yes, just do it.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all.
Mr. Hart?
No questions.
No questions? Well, we can let you go.
Thank you for your time, sir.
All right, the panel will now consider the matter. Do you want to adjourn or talk about it or discuss conditions? Or
Well,
we can do it here, or we can adjourn for 10 minutes.
do you want to adjourn for 10 minutes or something like that?
All right. I can say that
Do you want to adjourn for 10 minutes to talk about the conditions or something? Or do you want to do it at the end?
I'd prefer it if we did it here, actually, for the transparency side.
happy to do it here? Yeah, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, going through the panel, are you happy with the conditions?
I am. Yes, I am.
David,
Yes,
you
I
happy
think
with
it's
the
a
conditions?
great
I'm happy with the conditions.
proposal.
Are you happy with the conditions?
Most of them. I want a couple of extra ones put in if I can, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I would like to see, I can't see a condition in there at the present time that sets a maximum attendance at 200. So I'd like to see a condition in there that says something like no more than 200 patrons are to attend each session, and attendance is to be by pre-booked tickets, which is what we've just been told there. And
Can I assist? Mr. Chair, can I assist on that one? Can I assist with that one?
Yes.
If the panel can look at condition 13, and it talks about the 22 persons engaged with the operation, you can dovetail that
yes,
into that.
Amend that
So
condition. Yeah.
conditions could read that
You just table onto that one.
so no more than 200 people to participate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we add that to
No
it.
more than 200 tickets to be sold.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Or did you say persons on site?
No, I think it should be tickets sold.
Tickets, yeah.
Ticket sales,
Yes.
because
200,
that's
no
the
more than
control.
200 tickets.
So we can add that to condition 13. So there's two-part condition. One is the actual tickets, and the other one is the operation persons that will be operating 22.
Well, I've got it this way. The condition reads not more than 22 persons being engaged in the operation of the open air cinema, and no more than 200 tickets shall be sold.
The only other one I have, Mr Chairman, is when I look at 17, it says provide for less than 500 patrons. I'm just a bit worried about 500 patrons. Should we be... I accept the fact that maybe we cater for more than the 200. We're just worried that if there's a 500 in one part and a 200 in another. So maybe it's just a matter of whether or not we believe that should be tidied up a little bit. Other than that,
What number's that?
that's number 17, the very last one. Down the end where it says amenities including existing on-site and additional amenities provided for cater or anticipated attendance are to be provided as follows: less than 500 patrons for the WC arrangements.
So you want to change the word 500 to
Well,
200?
I don't want to cut the number now to be too low, but I don't want to see a number there that somebody then comes along and says, well, we can have 500.
Patrons, yeah. But
Yeah, go from there.
Sorry, I think the question of that then becomes, if you do reduce the figure from 500 to 200, do you then proportionately reduce the requirements for number of toilets, number of urinals?
That's what my concern is. I want to make sure that there's enough amenities for everybody, but not to have a figure that somebody at a later date might say, okay, well, it was okay for 500 or something like that. So
Well,
it doesn't succeed or fail on that. It's just that,
I think all you need to do is put a full stop after the word
Yeah.
follows and omit the last line.
yeah. Yeah,
Everyone happy with that?
yes, yeah.
Anything else?
No, nothing else, Mr. Chairman.
Is the panel unanimous?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Well, the determination of the panel is to adopt the recommendation to approve the proposed temporary use of Clark's Point Reserve as an open-air cinema from the 27th of September 2018 to the 1st of October 2018, subject to the conditions set out in the report. In saying so, I note that the land is subject to the Sydney Harbour Catchment Regional Environmental Plan, one of the aims of which is, quote, to encourage culturally rich and vibrant places for people, unquote. So the reason for the determination is the panel supports the findings contained in the assessment report and endorses the reasons for approval contained in that report. The development is approved subject to the conditions, including the amendment to condition 13 and condition 17. Is that and you wish to say something? Yes.
I'd just make one or two comments before we actually move to the vote. As the community representative, I mentioned my previous experience with the Hunters Hill Food and Wine Festival, so I know the value, the work that goes into these events. I feel that this one is actually being established appropriately. It's being contained in size and dates. I think the value to the community connection and the quality of life for the residents, I do believe this is beneficial, but I also wanted it on the record that we've not heard from anybody against the proposal tonight, and that's the reason why I'm making this comment on the record, is that we have acknowledged their submissions. They've shown that they've been concerned enough to actually go into print, and we do acknowledge that. The main concerns being traffic, access, parking. I think that the risks for those local residents is real, but I think it's also being appropriately managed. So I think I will support the recommendation, and that is because I think it's maximising the benefits for the community, but it is actually minimising the impact on the local nearby residents. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, well, with that, we can move on to the second item on the agenda. This is the development at 35A Augustine Street, Hunters Hill. Alterations and additions including proposed roofed pergola, timber deck, kitchenette and associated landscaping. The panel also inspected this site earlier in the day. This matter has been referred to the panel because it exceeds the landscaped area control under the GCP. However, the proposed development will have the effect of actually increasing the area of landscaping compared to the present. The panel therefore has no problem with it and supports the findings contained in the assessment report and endorses the reasons for approval contained in that report. The panel is unanimously of that view. So we can now move on to the final item. This is the proposed removal of one tree at 48 Gladesville Road, Hunters Hill. This has been referred to the panel because the council owns the land. The tree is a self-sown tree. It is causing pressure. The expansion of the trunk is beginning to bow the timber picket fence boundary onto the footpath. It is bowing the footpath itself, and it will become increasingly suppressed by the adjoining Norfolk Island pine and will begin to suppress the brush box tree within the road reserve. Again, the panel is unanimous. It supports the findings contained in the assessment report, endorses the reasons for approval contained in that report, and the tree may be removed. And that is also unanimous.
Yes.
Agreed. There is no other business arising, so I can formally conclude the meeting. Thank you, everyone.